Velios has been out for a few weeks now, and I thought I'd finally get the monk shackles out of the way and be ready for the Shackle of Steel when it gets implemented in a few weeks. I've been wanting to get these quests done since I was a baby lizard running around Cabalus, so let's get started. The shackles have a very similar concept to the human monk headband quests with a few key differences. The first difference is the very first shackle is the item you get for handing in your guild note at level 1 when you first create your character. This is the Shackle of Dust. This is required to continue the quest, but don't worry, if you did destroy it, there is a side quest called the Penance that you can do to get it back. The second difference is that the braces are no drop, so sorry to all the human monks out there, you can't just make a level 1 Iksar and do all the hand-ins and then trade the shackles back to your main. That being said, this is doable by human monks, it just requires a lot of faction grinding. You have to be at least indifferent in faction before you can hand the quests in, and I think if you're a monk who worships Quellios, it'll take twice as many faction hits than a monk who is agnostic, so keep that in mind. Alright, for the first shackle we have to talk to Master Raska in the Courtyard of Pain. Hail Master Raska. Expect to be a great master such as I, maybe. You still appear to be a whiff. What's a whiff? A whiff is the sound of a tail striking air. A whiff is you, inexperienced. I can help you, if you want to earn the second shackle. I want to earn the second shackle. Then you shall perform the first rite. Take this pack. To the Outlands you will go. You will find and combine the pack with one of each of the following. Goblin Scout Beads, a large Scorpion Pincer, a Froglock Skipper's Stone, and a Saber-toothed Canine Cub. Return the full first rite pack and you shall have proven yourself a monk. Okay, so the idea behind this quest is they want to get you to kill something in each of the zones surrounding Cabalus. That being said, you don't actually have to go into Warsalisk Woods if you don't want to, because the Goblin Scout Beads can be found in Lake of Ill Omen as well. So yeah, we need to find a Goblin Scout, which as I mentioned is in either Loyo or Warsalisks for the beads. The Saber-toothed Cub Canines will drop off Saber-toothed Cubs in Lake of Ill Omen. I just killed 2 birds with 1 stone and I got the beads and the canine right next to each other. The Skipping Stone, if you remember back in the early days when I did the video on the sparring armor, we covered these, but just as a refresher, you can find these in the Swamp of No Hope by killing Froglock Skippers. And finally, the large Scorpion Pincers are found off large scorpions in the Field of Bones. All these items I got within the first couple of kills. Combine all of them and then hand the first rite pack back to Master Raska. You have succeeded, young Reptox. You have proven yourself a skilled monk. You will now wear the Shackle of Clay. You will now also be required to increase your intensity of training in hopes that you may soon be able to earn your Shackle of Stone. So to begin the next quest line, just ask him about the Shackle of Stone. Interested in the Shackle of Stone, are we? They are made for monks who have earned their first 2 shackles and are ready to climb to the next rung. A monk who feels he is ready to wear the Shackle of Stone must first perform the task of cleansing. I am ready to perform the task of cleansing. Go forth to the outer gates and seek the Iksar bandits. They have refused to bow to the will of the Empire and shall pay dearly for their treacherous ways. They often wear bandit masks. If you return with 2 bandit masks and the shackles of dust and clay, then I shall reward you with the Shackle of Stone. You can find Iksar bandits wandering all over the Field of Bone. They're commonly found wandering around the pit. It should only take you a few kills before you find 2 of their masks. Once you get back to Master Raska, hand him both your Shackle of Dust and Shackle of Clay, as well as the 2 bandit masks. You have done supremely, Reptox. You have earned the Shackle of Stone. Mistress Niska will help you on your way to earning the Shackle of Rock. May the elements guide you to the next rung. Alright, so now we just have to head over to Master Niska. She's also in the Courtyard of Pain. Hail Master Niska. Master Niska bows with elegance and grace. You can see her arms rippling with muscles. Greetings, we are the Swifttails. We are the harnesses of the elements. We are the tails of discipline. To achieve rebirth in our caste is a great honour indeed. We can identify by our adornments. You should display that which was given to you to adorn your arms with pride. You do not have a bracer, correct? I want the Shackle of Rock. Master Niska strikes within inches of your snout with amazing speed. The Shackle of Rock is your interest. Then learn well our ways and prepare yourself. If the stone embraces your wrist, you are ready indeed. To complete the second rung, you must first find for me the Fists of Talon. What are the Fists of Talon? Master Niska points to the court chronicler. All that is known of Talon has been chronicled. Should you obtain the fists, then you shall hand them to me. This shall earn you the Shackle of Rock. Alright, so you don't actually have to do this next bit, but if you are interested in how the story goes, you should probably do it. Head over to the Court Chronicler and buy the book from him called Talon Southpaw. It costs 2 copper and it's a temporary item, meaning that when you log out it'll disappear. The book reads something like this. Talon Southpaw was the fastest pugilist ever to walk within the Court of Pain. His speed rivaled that of the great Grandmaster Tyne. He could often be found within the local taverns, demonstrating the awesome speed of his left fist. Talon Southpaw came to rebirth within this cast. Although quick with fist and tail, the speed of his left arm was not to come into blossom for a couple of decades past his rebirth. It was to follow his captivity by the accursed Sarnak. Soon after fulfilling the rung of Tyne, Talon went on a wandering retreat into the dangerous lands of Kunark. He was not heard from for a total of 5 seasons. Upon his return to Cabalus, he told of his captivity within an ancient city of the Iksar, now claimed by the Sarnak. He told of intense torture. He survived this ordeal. He escaped from the claws of the Sarnak with numerous scars which proved his painful ordeal. Most of the worst scars were never seen. Talon wore a robe which he never removed. The scars underneath were for no lizard's eyes. His great perseverance gave him an inner strength that no other monk could lay claim to. He now possessed incredible, almost blinding speed within his left arm. He could trap a foe's arm with his left and strike with it as if he had a third arm. He was indeed a paragon of the Swifttails. All in the Empire either respected or feared him. None would spar with him outside the taverns, but with grog comes stupidity. Upon his death in Kern, Grandmaster Tyne removed his hands in a private ceremony. Only Tyne was allowed to gaze upon Talon's body. The fists were then sealed in a canopic, which would stay within the Tower of Kern. His body was dusted. This is the tale told by Rinmark. Okay, so we got a few clues in that story. The first clue was that he was often found in local taverns either sparring or demonstrating the speed of his left fist. Head through Cabalus towards the Field of Bone, and just before you reach the Shaman and Shadow Knight Guild Hall, you'll find a tavern called the Tink and Babble. Go inside and head upstairs to Clock Pocklin. Greetings, thirsty traveller. Pull up a stool and lay your copper down. It's time to drink and be merry. Just don't get too merry or I'll have to call the troopers on you. Who was Talon Southpaw? Clock Pocklin faints with 2 quick left hooks. Talon Southpaw, he was the fastest hands in the Empire. I remember he once beat another lizard in an arm wrestling match. The amazing thing was, while he was gripping the Croak's left hand, he left hooked him without even losing his hold. That's quick. I hear one of his treasured hands is in the possession of a monk called Master Rinmark. So this gives us a little more information that also correlates with our clues from the book we read. At the end of the book, it said a tale told by Rinmark. Now with the new information from this bartender, we know that Rinmark is actually a master. Head back to the Courtyard of Pain and find Master Bane. Ask him, where is Master Rinmark? Seeking Master Rinmark, he has left the Court of Pain, gone to focus his thoughts on the elements of wind and thunder. I believe he was headed towards the over there. That was the last I'd heard of his trek. So Master Rinmark is actually the Iksar Master that you can find on the Chessboard Island in Timorous Deep. If you want a more detailed idea of how to reach him, go check out the episode covering the Silent Fist clan. In that one I show how to navigate the waters in order to find him. Once you reach him, hail him. An Iksar Master is humming and chanting softly. He seems oblivious to your presence. Are you Master Rinmark? The Master squints one eye open and then returns to his meditation. Who was Talon Southpaw? He waves his arms in the air. The Great Master? His soul is the wind. He speaks to us in the words of thunder. He strikes Norath with bolts of lightning. I seek to be as he is. I have travelled the globe in search of his fists. I have found only one. Another is said to be with Gomos. I shall return it when I am finished with my season-long meditation, or perhaps I shall find a monk to return the hand to Cabalus. I will return the hand to Cabalus. The Master hands you an old tattered sack. This shall be your proof of allegiance. Prove that you are strong with an intact mandible of a skulking brutling and the claws of a Berine excavator. Prove that you are a monk of fist and tail with the sash of an exiled human monk and the sparring gloves of a goblin pit fighter. Combine these items to make this sack full. This will earn you my trust and the hand. So he'll give you a tattered sack from Rinmark. This is a 4-slot container, so it won't fit in a bag, so make sure you have an open slot in your inventory. Okay, so now it's adventure time. We need to get some intact brutling choppers. These drop in Warslith's Woods off a skulking brutling. Not to be mistaken for the skulking brutes, which are found wandering the back end of the zone. They're also found in the caves leading up to Dalnir. Don't make the mistake I did. I ran around killing these guys for about an hour before I realized they don't actually drop the item we want. What we actually need are the Brutalings. I'm not sure if this is the only spot in the zone to find them, but it's definitely the easiest. You want to head to about negative 1950, positive 1665. This is slightly south of the giant fort. A skulking Brutaling will spawn here and wander slightly up the hill to negative 1800, positive 2200. You need to kill it and then go back to the first location. It's going to spawn here every 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Just sit here and kill it over and over until you get the choppers. It took me around an hour. The Goblin Sparring Gloves are also found in Warsalisk Woods. These drop off Goblin Pit Fighters. Now, the wiki says they are an uncommon drop, but I killed 4 pit fighters in the hour or so that I was here, and they dropped every single time. So you want to head to the Goblin Fort. It seems that there are 4 tents in this courtyard area here. The pit fighter is going to spawn every single time in this tent here, or at least it did for me. I came here for the gloves and got them instantly, but I saw Drachnus the Destroyer about 5 times back to back, so I ended up hanging around a bit longer, and the pit fighter spawned here every cycle and he had the gloves on him every time. It shouldn't take you long at all to get yourself a pair. The Excavator Claws can be found in either the Field of Bone or inside Kern's Tower. They drop off the Berry-Nigh excavators and they seem to drop every 2nd or 3rd kill. You're gonna see hundreds of these while you're farming the finger bones in Kern's Tower, so I wouldn't worry too much about them. The last item he wants is a Torn Sash. This drops off of a young Ronin in the Oasis. There's a dervish camp at the back southwest corner of the zone. The Ronin is gonna spawn in the middle tent. He is on the dervish cutthroat faction table. I'm not sure if he spawns here every single rotation or if he has a placeholder. I came here and he was already up, I killed him and he dropped the sash first go. The wiki says it's an uncommon drop, but I'm going to take that with a grain of salt because it said the pit fighter gloves were also uncommon and they seem to drop every single time. Once you have all the items, combine them inside the sack and return it to Master Rinmark. He bows before you and takes a wrinkled, mummified hand from a pouch at his side. Take the hand, let it rest within Cabalus and be reunited with the left. Now earlier when we spoke to Rinmark, he mentioned the other hand was said to be with Gomos. So if you ask him, who is Gomos? Disciple Gomos was once Talon Southpaw's pupil. It is rumoured that he has only one hand. Unfortunately, a horde of ogre raiders swiped his bones along with others from their place in Kern's Tower. What those simple oafs plan to do with them is a mystery. Only one who has studied the arcane sciences could use them. They most likely use them as soup bones. So the ogre we're looking for is actually the Great Uwump. We've seen him before in a previous episode, but in case you missed it, he is found here in Timorous Deep on the island that the boat and the raft to Oasis stops on. He always spawns in the same spot at the hut next to the docks. He will often be camped because he drops some nice earrings, but if that is the case, just ask the person camping him if you can hand in a quest next time he spawns. Once you've found him, go out to inhale him. The Great Uwump gestures as if casting a powerful spell. Come forward, adventurer, come and see the dancing skeleton. I shall cast a powerful spell and bring forth this operatic clattering jumble of bones, and he shall do a fine dance for you. From the nether regions and plains beyond, I call forth this bardic, magical, rhyming, tap-dancing hunk of undead, I, Uwump the Great. I want to see the dancing skeleton. Oh, you wish to see the Great Uwump perform his magic? I have studied with the Grand Mages and the wise McMerrin clan of Norath. As my speech implies, I can call forth the skeleton, but with a twinkle of my power, and 5 of your gold. So you need to give him 5 gold. The Great Uwump flings the coins into the air and they fall neatly into his oversized coin pouch. Gaze in awe at my awesome powers of the arcane. You, a simple citizen, shall see my power. Alakabam! A dancing skeleton is going to spawn beside him. If you hail it, a dancing skeleton begins to dance with a loud clatter. A cloud of dust is created. Teedle-dee, teedle-doo. A dancing skeleton I am. Dancing for you, dancing for me. If you ask him, are you Gomos? Gomos, why that is me. I was heading off to be with the elements when I was captured by this smelly ogre. Actually, he's not as smelly as most. Dancing for the Great Uwump, wee! Who was Talon Southpaw? Master Talon Southpaw, he was my master. Dead he became, off to the elements. I keep his special hand with me. Perhaps I should have returned it. Maybe I shall find a young adventurer to return the hand to Cabalus. I will return the hand to Cabalus. Yes, yes, return the hand. Here it is. Missing 4 it is. Within the tower, past pain and torture, is where the 4 lie, taken by bones similar to myself. Dancing and singing is my life. He's going to hand you a hand with only a thumb. This is a 4-slot container as well, so again, make sure you have appropriate inventory slots available. Okay, so the 4 fingers can be found in the bottom of Kern's tower. You need to find a fingered skeleton who wanders around the stables. This is probably going to be the worst camp of the whole quest line, so get ready to pray to RNGesus. Head into Kern's tower and follow the path that I'm taking. Once you're down here, you want to clear out this whole area. Like I mentioned before, you'll find lots of Excavator Claws here if you still need one. The fingered skeleton seems to spawn in this hallway and then he'll start roaming slightly. He never goes too far and he sticks to the stable area. His spawn timer is about 18 minutes and he has several placeholders that can spawn instead of him. These are as follows: a greater skeleton, a thick bone skeleton, a lesser charbone skeleton, a lesser icebone skeleton, and a very nice sapper. That's why it's easy to just kill everything down here, because if you see any of these mobs roaming, it's most probably going to be the placeholder for the fingered skeleton. Now, once you actually get him to spawn, he will drop a finger every time. The only problem is we need 4 separate fingers, and the chances of getting duplicates gets higher with every kill. It took me an entire day to get all 4 of them. First, I got 4 of the 4-inch fingers in a row, then I got the 2.5 inch, then I got 5 3-inch fingers in a row, and then finally I got the 3.1 inch in the end. As a little added bonus, the Undead Jester spawns just 1 room away. He has a chance to drop the Iksar Berserker Club, and this is a very nice starting weapon for a lot of classes. Once you have the 4 fingers, combine them in the container and craft the Iksar left hand. Now, I haven't found any real correlation apart from some extremely subtle clues, but there is a 3rd hand that we have to find before we can finish this quest. The barkeep mentioned that Talon Southpaw was once in an arm wrestling match, and that whilst gripping his opponent with his left hand, he was able to hit them with a left hook without letting go of his hold. You could also speculate that while talking to the Iksar Master, when he just told you that he has one of the hands, he doesn't say that Gomos has the other hand. Instead he says Gomos also has only one of the hands. You could interpret this to mean that there is a 3rd hand, but it's a bit of a long shot. Finally, if you were to hand the right and left hands that we already have to Master Niska, she would reply, "Tisk tisk tisk, there were more of Talon's fists than this. Only by gathering all of the fists will you earn the Shackle of Rock." Regardless, if anyone does find or knows of a more solid link that leads to the 3rd hand, please let me know in the comments. I'd really love to hear it. That being said, we do need to find the 3rd hand. So head to the Lake of Ill Omen, and we need to find a Sarnak Courier. This guy will wander across the zone slightly, but there's a really good method to make him spawn. He has a chance to drop a really valuable ring, so it's possible he's already being camped. Luckily, you only need him once because he's going to drop the hand every time. If he's being camped, just ask the person if you can loot the hand off of him. Unless they're a monk, they're not going to need it. What you need to do is head out towards the lake, run past the river that leads into the lake, and go up to the Goblin Fort. There's a huge list of placeholders for the Courier, but the thing that makes the camp so good is that there are 2 spawn spots right next to each other that have a timer of 30 seconds each. Here's a list of the placeholders now, I'll show it on the screen. What you need to do is gather all of the mobs that you can find in the surrounding areas that are on this list. Try and kill them all roughly at the same time. Once they're dead, watch the 2 spots over by the ruins. If you see a mob spawn there and instantly start wandering off, kill it. You want to try and get both of these mobs on a cycle. So you'll kill one, wait 15 seconds, and then kill the other. If you do it right, you'll have a perfect split where one mob will spawn every 15 seconds. Both of these spots have a chance to spawn the Courier. It took me about 25 minutes to get the Courier to spawn, and this included the time it took me to gather everything up and find the 2 placeholders and split them. Once you have the 3 hands, head back over to Master Niska and give them to her. Master Niska removes the crudely hewn shackle. This is yours. It is one of the keys to the 3rd rung. I see that you are truly a great monk and that you have studied your disciplines well. I have need of one such as you. I have heard of troubles with an Outlander. Now the fourth shackle starts from the dialogue that we just got at the end of this last quest. What troubles with an Outlander? It seemed Clock Emphyr has encountered an Outlander who was hunting the food that we lizards enjoy. The Legion will not act without proof of this Outlander's existence. We were asked by the Baron to find this proof. We shall do this. You shall provide me with the Outlander's head and the shackle of rock and stone. So you need to run out to the Island of Merchants and hail Clock Emphyr. He stares at you with a wicked smirk, so you share the brood's love of froglocks. Alive they provide much trouble. Dead they provide much delight. I have found many uses for the froglocks, from fine meat to fine mats. Ask if you do not see something. You say, what Outlander? Clock Emphyr turns pale at the mention of the Outlander. The Outlander? That is what the lizards in the Tink and Babble have dubbed him. He is tall and strong. Get close enough and he will kill you on sight. I think he could even defeat the likes of Bruiser Noz. I spotted him near the edge of the swamps. He was headed towards the fields of Firiona. We need to find Quinn the Outlander. Head out towards Firiona. If you're coming from the Swamp of No Hope, you'll already be close once you zone in. If you're coming from the Lake of Ill Omen, you'll need to make your way to the northeast corner of the map. Around here you're going to find a Drovlard camp. There will be 2 tents and the statue of an Iksar head on the ground nearby. Keep this camp in mind because we'll be coming back here later. From these tents, if you run directly north up to the crest of this little hill with all the rocks on it, you can find Quinn wandering from this spot all the way directly east to the giant camps. There is a chance that he will get killed by froglocks while he's roaming, so just be patient and keep a lookout between those 2 spots. He does stand still for several seconds at a time while he's roaming. When I came here I just found him standing on the top of the hill here. He will drop the head every time, so once you kill him, go back to Master Niska and give her the head along with the Shackle of Rock and the Shackle of Stone. Very good, here is your Shackle of Copper. The Emperor shall be pleased that I, Mistress Niska, have slain the Outlander. Do you have some time? I need someone to be my personal courier. Will you? What a bitch, taking all the credit for herself. Well, I guess that's the life of a student. So once again, the next quest starts at the end of the last. I will be your personal courier. Master Niska grabs a tin box resting by her feet. Take this to Master Rinmark and be quick about it. You'll receive a tin box. Take it out to the Iksar Master in Timeless Deep. The Iksar Master opens the box to reveal a variety of pebbles. How grand, my pebbles. Now I can continue with my rock garden. You look familiar. Hey, I bet you can help me complete my garden. Would you please assist old Rinmark in completing his rock garden? I will assist old Rinmark in completing his rock garden. The Iksar Master pours the pebbles into his pocket and hands the box to you. Take my box, fill and combine my box with the following. A Radiant Meteorite, Frontier's Fool's Gold, Petrified Redwood, Ryle's Sand Coin, Sulfur Stone, Fragment of Tektite, Plains Pebble, Jade Magma, Heart of Ice, and an Unholy Cold Stone. Return this full tin box to me and I shall reward you with the Shackle of Bronze. So he's going to give you an empty tin box. This is a 10 slot container and it weighs 5 pounds, so it's possible that you might want to just wait until you have all the items before you get the box from him. Well, I hope you have some travelling slippers on because it's globetrotting time. The 10 items that he's asked us for are a mixture of foraged items and drops from monsters, as well as one from a little mini quest. Don't worry though, human monks, the foraged items are all thankfully tradable. I'll cover the dropped items first, but keep in mind that some of the locations, or at least travelling to these locations, are going to overlap with the foraged item zones, so keep that in mind. Alright, the Unholy Cold Stone drops off Goblin Priests in Permafrost. It's a fairly common drop. I saw a lot of them when I was in Permafrost for my headband quests, so if you did that, hopefully you already picked one up while you were there. The Heart of Ice drops off Icebone or Greater Icebone skeletons in the Lake of Ill Omen. You'll find lots of these hanging around in between the Sarnak Fort and the lake, so just run along this side of the zone and kill any of the skeletons you see. They might not all be Icebones, but it's possible that they share the same spawn tables. It took me about 20 minutes to find mine. The Jade Magma drops off Berry Name Miners in the Frontier Mountains. You can find these guys wandering around the zone fairly close to the Lake of Ill Omen zone line. I'm not sure of the rarity of these. I ended up getting mine on the first miner that I killed. The Sulfur Stone is actually called a Scarlet Stone, and this drops off a Drovlard Scavenger in Firiona. Now remember the two tents that I mentioned earlier next to the Iksar head statue? There are 3 Drovlags that spawn here. They won't wander, and they're on a 7 to 8 minute timer. So the scavenger's going to spawn here, but just be careful because bards often swarm kite this area, and if they pick up any of these placeholders, you might be waiting for a while before they swarm them all down to get your spawns back. This camp has the potential to be disgusting, but I don't know if I was lucky or not. I ended up getting a scavenger to spawn after 3 or 4 rotations, and he dropped the Scarlet Stone on the first kill. I'm unsure if it's a 100% drop rate or not. The Petrified Redwood is one of the foraged items, but it can also drop off spiked or thorny succulents in the over there. Foraging sucks hard, so I'd recommend killing these cactuars for this one. You can find them everywhere along the southern side of the zone. Just run along the path and you're going to see them wandering around all over the place. I'd say it's an uncommon drop, but the abundance of mobs that you can kill that drop it is so high that it only took me about 20 minutes to find one. Alright, the Fragment of Tektite is kind of unique in that it's neither foraged nor dropped, but instead it's a very simple quest turn-in. At the Dark Elf outpost in the over there, you're going to find a gargoyle named Tektite. Tektite wants new eyes. I have no idea how anyone found this out, because even if you're a character that isn't kill on sight, he doesn't have any form of quest line in his dialogue. I did some digging around online and I couldn't find any sort of dialogue that would lead to this and came up with nothing. I know this exact quest and item is also used for the Worm Slayer, so again, if you know the lore or the story that links this quest, let me know in the comments. What you need to do is get 2 Carnalin. These can be bought from any jewel crafting merchant for like a couple of platinum each. Run to the over there outpost and then either invis past these first 2 gargoyles or run past them and feign death. Once you're in this corridor, you need to sneak up to the end, and the gargoyle on the left is Tektite. Hand him the 2 Carnalin while you're sneaking and he'll give you a Fragment of Tektite in return. Okay, so that covers all the no drop items with the exception of the Petrified Redwood. The next lot of items are all foraged, but like I said earlier, they're all also tradable. So just keep in mind that any Iksars or Wood Elves, as well as Druids, Rangers and Bards, can all forage. Just look to see if anyone that can forage is in the particular zone that the item's from, and send them a tell offering to buy from them if they find one. And if someone who's leveling in one of those zones finds one and gets back to you, don't be a stooge and give them like 5 plat, offer them like 50 plat at least for saving you the heartache of having to sit in a zone and just hit forage with your terrible 50 skill cap racial forage. Plains pebbles are foraged in any of the Karanas. These should be really easy to find. I foraged mine while I was doing the headband quests, but it should be really easy to find someone to buy one of these from, considering the Karana is a very popular zone for druids. The Frontier's Fool's Gold is called a Gold Nugget, and this can be foraged in the Frontier Mountains. Now pay attention to this because there are 2 separate gold nuggets, but they have identical names. The one we want is a stackable item, so it'll have a little 1 in the corner of the icon. If you were to use an identify spell, it would identify as Frontier's Fool's Gold. The other gold nugget is not stackable and it's just vendor trash. That would identify as genuine gold nugget. Each time I came through here while doing other parts of the quest, I would just ask the zone that I was looking for one. I eventually came across a monk called Wap Wap and a druid called Tesserina. Tesserina had one in her bank and very kindly delivered it to me. I offered to pay her, but she told me that Wap Wap was a fan of the show and insisted that I didn't give her any money. So shoutouts to both Wap Wap and Tesserina. Thank you guys so very much for the help. Ryle Sandcoin on live could be foraged in several zones. These were the Dreadlands, Firiona, Timorous Deep, North and South Row. However, it is speculated that it's only obtainable in Timorous Deep on Project 99. That being said, I did try to find one in the Dreadlands. For a little while I was there foraging and I was asking the zone, but I had no luck and no response. So I'm inclined to believe that it is only found in Timorous Deep. I just did a /who Timorous and found a druid and an Iksar shaman hunting in the zone. I sent them both tells and the druid told me that he had one on him. He said he'd be there for a while, so I jumped straight on the boat and went and got it off of him. I gave him 50 platinum for his troubles, so shoutouts to Messol, thank you very much. Alright, this brings us to our very last foraged item, the Radiant Meteorite. This is found in the Burning Woods and is the one I struggled by far the most with. I sat here mashing forage for hours not having any luck at all. And no one ever seemed to be in this zone while I was online. If you do plan to do this, keep an eye out for this particular item. Try to buy it in the East Commonlands whenever you're there and just ask people you know who might have one. While I was running around Timeless Deep getting my coin, Baseman sent me a tell asking me if I was, getting video footage and stuff. I explained I was on my Shackle quest, and at this point all I needed was a Radiant Meteorite. I jokingly said, you wouldn't happen to have one, would you? I'd be eternally grateful. To which he replied, oh yeah, just give me a moment. And then within a few seconds he told me he'd found one. He hit me up with a guy called Duruaz, another member of Haggard crew. He told me to meet him in Cobalt Scar, and he'd hook me up with the Radiant Meteorite. It just so happened that, as I was talking to him about where to meet, a druid ran past me on the chessboard island of all places, and I hitched a ride straight there. Unfortunately, I gave the druid all the money I had, so I owe you big time. Shoutouts to Baseman once again for being a champ, and to Duruaz for hooking me up with the Radiant Meteorite. Once you have the 10 items, combine them in the empty tin to create a pebble-filled box. Hand this back to Rinmark. The Master graciously accepts the tin box filled with precious rocks and gems. Thank you greatly, young Reptox. For your deed, I bestow you the Shackle of Bronze. You have completed the 3rd rung. Okay, so as of the 15th of August, which is when I handed this in, the next part of the quest is not currently in the game. It should, however, be implemented within the next month or so. Currently his dialogue just ends here, but once the Shackle of Steel is implemented, he should say, alas, there is no time for celebration. I need your help in rescuing a student of mine. Student being the key in the dialogue to continue on to the next quest. So it should go something like this. Where is your student? The Iksar Master hands what appears to be the base of a key. This was delivered to me by a dying student. He collapsed just after handing it to me. He was accompanying another student of mine named Valtor. They were questing for the legendary Whistling Fists. The key is made of a metal I have never felt or heard of. Find him. He will give you part of a large key, and it's a 2-slot container. Now, I'm not sure when all this will happen in the timeline, but at some point a bunch of the goblins will be moved from the Mines of Nurga and the Temple of Droga into the Frontier Mountains. Valtor is an Iksar slave who will be found in the Frontier Mountains. Currently the cave that he will be in is full of berry knives, but at some point it'll be taken over by goblins. It's Cave B on the wiki map. So you'll talk to him and he'll ask you to go collect 2 parts of the key to combine in the container that Rinmark gave you. One of the keys is found in Dalnir. You guys remember Dalnir, right? I'm fairly confident that it is already acquirable. The other key I'm not too sure about. It drops off a goblin interrogator who can currently be found in the Temple of Droga, but he will be potentially moved to the Frontier Mountains to the exact same cave where you'll find the missing student. But this video is already long enough, so I'll just have to make another once the patch rolls out for the Shackle of Steel. So until that time comes, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.